I don't know what happened. When I turned on StreamYard, it went full screen for some reason, and I'm not sure what that full screen reason was. And I couldn't make it smaller to come back on and go live. And I'm like, well, this is not right. Something happened. Let's see if I can get this light a little bit more over this way. I can roll my chair around, so it don't much matter. I couldn't get my screen to go small, so I could refresh the page after I plugged in my mic and camera. So it's my bad. I'm sorry. Wow, what a way to start. I've been watching YouTube a lot today, and I've watched a lot of good stuff. And you know, I've been involved with an awful lot of other lives. Hi, Charlene Grady. How we doing? Hey, Brat. Hey, Paul. And I've been sitting here, and I'm like, I had somebody come in and said something about cowboy candy, and I'm like, never heard of it. What's cowboy candy? I need a recipe for good cowboy candy. Well, I found one. I don't know if it's good or not. I haven't tried it, but I'll tell you how this recipe works. You have to have about 10 to 12 average sized jalapeno peppers. And for those that don't know, Walmart sells six to a package for $1 a package, so they're not expensive. The local farmers market wanted $7.75 a quart. So I was like, no, I'm going to Walmart. My local store, I could get 10 to 12 peppers in a package for, I think it was $2.99. It was pretty cheap. But then you have to take those and slice them up into quarter inch slices. 1 cup of sugar, 1/2 a cup of apple cider vinegar, 1 teaspoon of chili powder, a half a teaspoon of turmeric powder, and a half a teaspoon of ground ginger. You slice your peppers, you stir together the sugar, the vinegar, and seasonings in the pan. Bring it to a quick boil, to a low simmer until the sugar dissolves. Add the jalapeno pepper slices, simmer them for about 4 minutes. They will darken as a little bit as they slightly cook and absorb some of the sugars. Transfer them over into your clean jars and then fill the jars with remaining syrup. And by the way, this recipe will make 3 half pint jars, which I believe are the 8 ounce jars. I'm going to be making it as a double recipe because I've already told one of my friends I was giving him one of mine, so I'm going to make a few extras. My brother doesn't eat a lot of sugar. Actually, doesn't like sugar, but he does like his spices, so he'll get one anyway, whether he wants them or not. But then, yeah, you just can it like normal, and they're good for a long time on the shelf. So, and this is a recipe chili pepper madness. We're asking for the recipe. I don't know, but I'm going to do it anyway. Wow, I just got butted from my internet. That was stupid. I use T-Mobile Business for my internet, and I also have Spectrum Wi-Fi available here as well. And I was like, what? Yeah, cowboy candy. Thanks, bro. No, it's just bad weather. That's all it is. It's bad weather. We're dealing with the backside of the Debbie storm there, or whatever they call it. So it don't matter. I'll deal with it. I've got hardwired internet, and I've also got Wi-Fi backup, so I'm content. We'll try to keep those going. But speaking of doing research and different things, if anybody here knows how I can get a hold of, hey Jay Granados, how you doing? If anybody here knows how I can get a hold of Pops, that's all capital letters, POPZ. He was asking for contact information for Gary and Mary from Junk to Gems 3. I have their phone number, I have their email address, and I have their permission to share it. And I have their home address as well. So Gary and Mary gave me permission to share it with him, but the problem is I don't have any contact information for him. So if anybody knows how to get a hold of Pops, send me an email. It's crumpyc@yahoo.com. Here, let me throw that back down at a banner. There we go. It's crumpyc@yahoo.com. And get a hold of Pops and have him get a hold of me. I told him, hey, email me. I got all this information. And Mike said he was going to do it too, but from DD5. But I don't know if Mike did it because I reached out to Gary and Mary the next day, and Gary's like, yeah, by all means, have him get a hold of us. So I don't think Mike actually did it yet. But we'll see. We'll see. Also, to everybody that's reached out to me, that sent me messages through Facebook telling me about different properties or whatever. All right, Paul Honeyman, thank you. And Mike, if you could, or Paul, if you could, can you send me Pop's email address? Because Gary gave me permission to share the address, the phone number, email, the whole 9 yards for him as well. That way we can make sure that he gets it. My email address is right there at the bottom of the screen, grumpyc@yahoo.com. But I want to make sure Pops gets in touch with him, because Pops is the kind of guy that likes to treat channels he likes kind of special. And I really would like to be able to make sure that Gary and Mary get the love they deserve from Pops. I just think that's kind of special. I don't have any information for Pops himself. Yeah, I don't. The problem is, Paul, I don't have any contact information for Pops himself. So, I mean, I got all the information I can send him, but the problem is I don't have any contact information for Pops to be able to give it to him. So if you can share Pops' information with me, that would be great. I'll send everything back to him again. That way he can, communicate with Gary and Mary direct. Papa Wheelie Pops. That's good. So I've been a can of fool. This week I decided that I like apple jelly. So I made 6 8-ounce jars of apple jelly, and right after I made that, I was looking in my refrigerator, and I had a half gallon of white grape juice that's unsweetened. Good night, Paul. I found out I had a half gallon of unsweetened white grape juice, and I was like, "Oh, that's all right, Paul. I understand, brother." And so I did some research, and I found out same recipe I made my apple jelly with. Okay. I hate this internet when it's stormy weather. So I made 8-ounce jars of white grape jelly as well, and it turned out really, really well. I mean, that white grape jelly was just like a blowout. I don't like purple grape jelly. I think it's probably one of the worst things I've ever had. I mean, it's great for catching mice, and I hear it's good in meatballs and doing different things with it, but I don't use it for any of that stuff. I'm just not a liker of it. But I do like white grape juice, and I do like white grapes, period. I mean, I eat them all the time. And so I made the jelly, and every time I make jelly, I always make a little extra. So when I get done filling all my jars, there's a little bit left over. I can just pour it into a bowl, let it set to room temperature to make sure it sets up properly. If not, I can put it back in the pan, boil it some more, and then recan it. That white grape jelly turned out so phenomenal. I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for lunch that day, and my girlfriend came home, Leah, from work, and she made a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with it as well, and she liked it. And I was like, I called my mom. I said, "Hey, Ma, my mom's pushing 90 years old." I says, "Have you ever had white grape jelly?" And she's like, "Well, no." I says, "Well, I made it. It's good." Yeah, well, Brett, I kind of feel myself that way. If I don't know something, I know how to research it. Or if I can't find the information I'm looking for while I'm researching it, I know people I can ask. I worked in the chemical industry for 32 years, and I was the troubleshooter kind of guy. I worked for the engineers that built the plant. And I could go and say, "But wait, what if we did this instead of that?" And they would be like, "Why would we do that?" Well, why wouldn't we do that? You tell me. Let's sit down and let's talk about it. And I actually saved them $4,000 a year on one of their processes. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, I try not to be a dummy, bro. I've always you're a software engineer, glorified dummy. Okay, cool. I used to own a computer store. That was leading up to my next story, which is cool. I own a seed business that's worth about $1 million. Okay, we ship out thousands and thousands of packages a week. I got a call on my phone, or a message on my phone, from the United States Postal Service, supposedly. And it said there's a package that can't be delivered. There's a 30-cent due on the postage. So I sent him my card information. Got the card sitting right here beside me. I sent him my card information. Okay. Hell, I can share my card information. There you go. You can see all the numbers and everything that goes with it. My bank's fraud department called me up and said, "Hey, we're not letting that charge go through for 30 cents. And I was like, "But there's a package that can't be shipped." And they said, "Yeah, except for Facebook doesn't ship your packages. So we tagged your payment as fraud. Your card's been canceled. Congratulations, you got hit with somebody that was frauding you." And I was like, I thought about it, and I was like, "Well, duh. How would the USPS get my phone number?" I mean, I know they've got my email address. That's how they get paid. That's how I get my receipts for paying them. But they don't have my phone number. They can't send me messages. "Hey, Melvin, Donnie, how you doing? Oh, I bought watermelon jelly from the local apple orchard last year. I really like it on English muffins and stuff, but I'll tell you, it does not mix well with peanut butter." I tried it, and I was just like, "What? No, it doesn't go well with peanut butter." Watermelon wine. Hi, Rose. I have never tried watermelon wine. I've done dandelion wine, elderberry wine. Actually, I planted an elderberry tree in my yard this year. I've never tried watermelon wine. I've done elderberry. I think I've done blueberry wine. That was kind of good. My brother made that one year. There's so many things you can make out of everything. I didn't care for the dandelion wine. That was kind of tart. I'm more of like the Lake Niagara white wine kind of guy. I tried making wine one time, and my bottles blew up in my mom's washroom in the basement, and I spent 2 weeks cleaning up grape juice, and it was purple grape juice, of course. Since that experiment, never did the wine again. Although I have made mead. I will be honest with you there. I've made some killer mead. And my idea of killer mead is you don't put the finishing sugars in and you strain out the yeast. And just put it in regular soda pop bottles and set it in the refrigerator, because now it's not all fuzzy and exploding and all that stuff. And that's pretty sweet. Very high alcohol content, though. I will warn anybody, if you drink mead that hasn't been carbonized at the end. If it's carbonized at the end, you'll get a champagne headache. But if it hasn't been carbonized at the end, that headache won't be there. But boy, you won't be like you're not functional at all. Okay, Brett. So now you're going to tell me you're going to start making some chicken wine too? Oh, I bet lemon jelly would be awesome. I bet lemon jelly would be awesome. I never even thought about lemon jelly. I've never thought about lemon jelly, but I bet lemon jelly would be very good, because Leah can't have a lot of sugar, and she found the keto. I was like, well, you can't make a cake without frosting, and we actually found, I forget what brand it was, but she actually found a lemon frosting that was only like 20% sugar, where the rest of them are like 68%. Yeah, okay, bro. I actually have the essential oils to make something be like menthol. Maybe they would like menthol jelly. I don't know. Well, if you steal a bike, you got to make sure, Brett. If you steal a bike, you got to make sure it's an electric bike, and that you've got the key to it, and hopefully the charger attached to the saddlebag on the back, so you can charge it back up when you get home. Otherwise, you're just gonna be left out. Self-imposed timeout. No, we don't, Brett. We're all adults in here. We don't self-impose timeouts. That's not the way it works. Yeah, Melvin Donnie, I really think that would be good. I'm gonna have to look into that. Lemon jelly. I've actually got blueberry, blackberry, and strawberry jelly. I'm gonna be making sometime probably this week. I'm doing the cowboy candy first because I don't want to let these peppers go bad. And all my berries are all in the freezer from being fresh picked, and I got a lot of them, so it's gonna be a lot of jelly. And then I don't know if anybody here has ever had pepper jelly. Pepper jelly normally is made with jalapenos and sweet peppers. Very few jalapeno and a whole lot of sweet pepper. And you make that in like the little 4-ounce jars. They're not big. And when you get ready to serve it, you just go out and you buy a block of cream cheese, put it on a plate, let it get to room temperature, empty the jar on top of the cream cheese, and serve it with a knife and crackers. And they can take the cheese spread with the jelly and put it on the crackers. That's really, really good. I've always made it with just sweet peppers because my mom doesn't like a lot of spice. But this year I'm going to do it with, I got a couple serrano peppers left over from one of my experiments. That was a spicy bread and butter pickle I made last week. And I don't want those peppers to go bad, so I'm thinking about dicing them up really small and putting a few of them in each one of the jars just to make a spice batch. It's been a while. Well, Brett, you're not supposed to put it in the microwave before you go to stick it in your mouth. Come on now. You want it room temperature, not hot. I'm not going to comment on that last one, Brett. Well, actually, the one before the last one. To get your berries put in the freezer, that's your option, my friend. Maybe you should treat her better. Yeah, Melvin, Donnie, we're not getting stormed right now, but they're talking rain for today, tomorrow, and Monday. Today was 65% chance for 1 hour. It rained real light for maybe that whole hour, but I mean, we're talking real light. We walked into Walmart and backed out and didn't even get wet pretty much. The rest of the next 2 days is going to be like 35%, but they're saying that 35% is going to be a lot harder rain than the last 65% was today. So it may be only for an hour or two at a time, and then that's your 35% of the day or whatever. I don't know. But after that, we got another 7 days coming up that's supposed to be bright, sunny, and almost 80 degrees every day. Give you an idea, right now in New York, it's 67 degrees, and there's a bit of a breeze that's a little on the chilly side because of the rain, but it's not bad. I mean, my window's open about 6 inches right here beside me. Of course, I smoke, so that's how I get the smell out of the upper part of my office. But I was like, wow. When Debbie first started coming through our area, that was like we had like a tornado come through our area, and then we had a whole lot of rain come through our area with high winds just the other day. We had more trees down that we had to go clear out, and then today was just like, yeah, winds weren't blowing much at all. Actually, I didn't close any of my windows up here today. I just like, if it rains, it rains. Wind's not blowing. And I didn't get any water in the house, so I'm just like, I don't care. But I'm thinking maybe Monday and Tuesday might be a little bit harder rain, and for that, I have to worry about splash back into the windows off the roofs that are blowing and whatnot too. So I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. Yes, Brett, fall is coming way too soon. I've already seen tree leaves in my yard, and here we are just in August. You know, I don't normally see that till maybe closer till the end of September. So I don't know. You saw geese heading north today? All right, well, that's cool. I've seen geese laying in fields, but I haven't seen any of them flying, so I don't know what direction they're heading in or if they're just hanging out. My guess is they're just hanging out. They're not ready to go back yet. Yeah, you know, if I was a goose, I wouldn't be in a hurry to head back either. It's not that cold, but it is starting to get chillier. And we've had a lot of rain. I mean, this year, not as much as Pennsylvania, which is just below me. They got 4 inches of rain just yesterday alone in Pennsylvania. And I'm like, wow, yesterday we didn't get nothing. I was out mowing my lawn yesterday. We didn't get nothing. I think it might have sprinkled a little bit later in the night, but it wasn't anything serious to be concerned about. Their farmers' fields are flooded. Their rivers are overflowing. And I'm like, wow, okay, that's part of Debbie too. We're all facing Debbie. I see a lot of grasshoppers when I'm mowing the lawn. I don't see many frogs. I see a lot of toads. Overdue leaf blower review. Well, I don't have to do a review on my leaf blower, but mine blows at about 300 miles per hour. I forget the brand name of it, and it doesn't even make it to my garage. In the fall of the year, I put it underneath my hutch in my dining room and keep it in the house. And because I buy really, really good gasoline, I don't buy the junk gasoline for any of my equipment. It it never goes bad. I can go down, I can start it up right now, and it'll run just as good as it did when I put it away last year. Speaking of equipment, that was something I just bought. I didn't know they were so cheap. I looked into it because I actually have a need for one. That walk behind string trimmer that Gary and Mary at Junk to Gems have been using and Mike broke. I was thinking, boy, I could really use one of those because I've got weeds that are too big for my regular weed eater. My regular weed eater is just a Craftsman rechargeable, well, battery operated, and the line is too small. The batteries don't put out enough power. And I was like, man, if I had one like Gary and Mary got where you can just go into the weeds and just blow them down, that would be freaking awesome. And so I looked into them, and I found out you can buy one at Home Depot for under $400. My total bill was a little over 400 because I added an extra, I think it's 165 feet of line. So when I find out what the length of the line is, I can just cut my own rather than having to buy them already pre-cut because that gets pretty expensive. And I bought the oil for it because I don't have any 1030 SAE straight oil here. Or no, straight 30, I'm sorry, straight 30 oil. Everything I've got is 1030 oil. And I don't have to worry about it in my lawnmower because John Deere takes care of that. It's under warranty and it's under a maintenance program. And other than that, I don't have any other real equipment around here. I've got a Manus tiller. I haven't used that thing in probably 4 years. A friend of mine wanted to borrow it. I told him, go ahead and take it. And he took it home. And he's like, yeah, it won't even start up. Well, it's been sitting in the garage for 4 years, bro. You know, probably still got old gas in it and stuff. So he ended up replacing the carburetor on it, which was about $13. And he used it for a good week. And I'm talking a good week. He was out there tilling his yard for a good week. He brought it back, and the blades were all bent on it and everything else. No, I don't care. I don't use it. But I reached out to Manus, and I was like, wait a minute. When I bought this thing, it was like $335 a long time ago. Like we're talking almost 10 years ago when I bought this. I said, when I bought this thing, didn't that come with lifetime blade warranty? And they're like, oh, yeah, sure, absolutely. And they sent me not just new blades for the Manus tiller, but they also sent me some edging blades and some other parts for it that I didn't even ask for. And I was like, well, that's cool. I appreciate it. And so I got that. That's one of the things I'm getting ready to start thinning stuff out. My music equipment's going to be first on the list, and then in my garage I've got a furnace that I bought that was just um, serviced with a brand new Beckett burner and all that stuff. And the guy that had it, his kid was running his apartment, and they weren't putting any fuel in the tank. And he says, well, you got to pay your electric bill. I'm taking the furnace out, and I'm going to put in electric heat. So I bought the furnace from him. It was pretty cheap. And then I had a vehicle I was selling that a buddy of mine's son wanted. And in the middle of their yard, they had a generator for sale. And I said, well, what do you want for the generator? And he's like, oh, just $100 if it's you. And I was like, all right, make a deal with your kid. Have him pay you the $100. I'll knock $100 off of the vehicle if he gives you the $100 for the generator, and you help me load it in the back of my truck. So I bought it. I got it home. We unloaded it in my wood shop, of all dumb places to do it. We put gas in it. We went to start it up. It did run. There wasn't any way to shut it off. The carburetor was leaking gas all over my wood shop, which was catching on fire on the floor, and I couldn't shut it off. So I just opened the doors up and I drug it outside and took a broom and swept the gas out and, pushing the flames out with it behind it as best as I could. Kind of spread them around a whole lot, caught my broom on fire. But I got it out of the wood shop. We loaded it back onto the truck. We took it to a repair shop, and it was there for a long time. And when we were buying this house back in 2019, coming over to look at it again, I got a call on my phone and said, "Hey, I just inherited your generator." And I'm like, "I didn't die, so you didn't inherit nothing." And he says, "Well, no, I mean, it was left in my side of the shop. I'm renting this half of the shop now, and it was left on my side of the shop, and it needs repair." And I was like, "Well, that's why it's there. I know it needs repair." And he's like, "Well, it's going to cost you X number of dollars to repair it. I wanted to call you and see if you wanted to have it done or not, because I don't think it's worth it." And I was like, "Dude, do the repair. I'll tell you exactly everything that I know that it needs to be done. You do the repair, I'll pay you for it. It doesn't matter." It was like a $300. My internet better not keep disappearing. It was like $1,000 generator. I had $100 invested in it. So yeah, I'll do a $300 repair on it. I've got the same thing going on with the chainsaw that I bought. I bought that last summer, I believe. A guy had bought it at auction, had it for 2 or 3 years sitting in his garage, never used it, put it up for sale on Facebook Marketplace for like $25. I went over and I bought it. I brought it home. I had my employee look at it because he's real good on small engines and stuff. The primer bulb was bad, so we went down and spent $22 on a primer bulb. And lo and behold, putting a new primer bulb on, the gas line split. He still got it to run. He still used it. He sharpened it and used it. He says, "It's a pretty kick little chainsaw." And I was like, "Yeah. What do we got to do?" And he says, "Replace the gas lines. It needs a new fuel filter in the gas tank, and it needs a new chain. This chain is totally wore out." So I took it to the local chainsaw center, and I left it with him. Got the repair ticket in my wallet, and I let him have it for a good 3 months. I had one day I stopped by there, and there was an old guy in there. And I told him I dropped off a chainsaw. It was a McCulloch remanufactured chainsaw, and this is what it was here for. And he come back to me. "I don't know where that's at." I was like, blown away. I was there on a Saturday. Maybe it's the owner's dad. I don't know. So I left to go. And I stopped back again about 3 weeks later during the week when I had a chance to stop by. And another old guy came up and he says, "Oh, yes." And he goes over and he grabs the chainsaw. He puts it on the counter and says, "I put a stop on the work order on this one." And I was like, "Why would you put a stop on a work order?" And he said, "Well, because it's going to cost $100 to fix the saw." And I'm like, $100 to fix the saw, and you put a stop work order on it? And he says, "Yeah, I don't think the saw's worth that much." I was like, "Dude, I got like $40 invested in the saw right now. You put $100 into it and make it so I got a brand new chain on it with an extra chain, and go through and do the full maintenance on this saw and change the gas lines to where I can use it. I can't go anywhere else and buy a chainsaw for $140. Fix the darn thing. I got to go back. Unfortunately, I have to go to the bank and get cash because I can't use my card." But I'm going to go back to the bank and draw out a couple $100. That way I know I got more than enough for what I need. And Just say, hey, how are we doing on that chainsaw? You know, McCullough chainsaws back in the old days, back when this one was built, were really, really dependable, nice saws. I did need a saw, so what I did is Amazon had Chinese chainsaws for sale for like $140. I watched quite a few reviews on them, and I was just like, a saw right now is better than no saw. I have to deal with sumac trees growing along my back bank, so I bought it. My employee went out and he cut a path down the hill, shut the saw off, come back up the hill, and he says, yeah, no, I don't like it. It's too lightweight. No, I'm handicapped. I want a lightweight saw, you know. But then I found another friend of mine, and I said to him, you know, he was hurting for a mortgage payment. And I said, well, I'll give you $100, cut all these trees down. I got a brand new chainsaw on the porch, gas right beside it. Him and his wife came out and they cut all those trees down. I give him $100, and he's like, man, that saw is so cool. I wish I would have known you had that when I was over borrowing your other saws to go out and cut down branches off my pine trees out front. My electric chainsaw weighs twice the weight of this gas-powered one. That's kind of weird, you know. My electric chainsaw I bought just because when we go camping, some pieces are really, really long. I like to be able to cut them in half so they fit within the fire pit and I don't have to mind them so much. So I bought it. It's come in very handy. Now, Brad, I shattered my heel 3 years ago. A little over 3 years ago now. July 22nd would have been the third year. It would have been July 14th this year. Or no, June 14th this year. I had to go for a cortisone shot in my ankle. And the shots are normally good for about 2.25 months or so, but you have to wait 3 months before you can get another one. This one just wore off this morning, so you know I got 3 days past the 2 month mark, and right after that, it was back into a brace, back into some major pain. Taking naproxen every day, which is the reason why I get the shots, is because naproxen isn't good for you at all. And I ordered a new brace over 2 months ago, and Workman's Comp has been denying everything. We're not paying for this. We're not paying for that. Blah, 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 blah. Well, they paid for everything that I just had done with the cortisone shot and some other stuff. And I was like, well, I hope they pay for the new brace that was ordered. I have to call the doctor's office Monday to find out whether or not it went through. Yeah, Ivy's family factotum has just reached out asking for the community to help. They were planning on building the community house on pillars for them, and now that's not going to work. But they've been approved to go in and put in a landing for the new house, and the ground's not level. They don't have the equipment to be able to do it or the time to be able to do it, and so they're reaching out for community help. I was just watching their video before I started, and they are really looking for someone to get out there and help them level the land, drop a few trees, probably get rid of the stumps from the trees would be my guess, because it's in the area where they want to put the house. It's bigger than their original plan, but it's a manufactured home that they're putting in. So they're looking for people that are willing to go over there and help them and do what they need to do. Yeah, I hear you. Bro, I was on crutches for God almost a year when I shattered my heel. Almost a year. I started out with being in a what do they call that? Splints. And then I went for the actual surgery, which took a long time to get approved or whatnot through Workman's Comp. And after surgery, I went back into a splint for a long time. And then they put me back into a cast for quite a while. The cast I didn't mind because I could put a boot on the cast and I could just go out and walk around the yard pretty much willy nilly. I didn't have to work, use crutches or whatever. And then they cut the cast off, and right after they cut the cast off, my foot started swelling up terribly. And I told him, I says, look, I don't know nothing about medical stuff, but I was watching this thing on the TV that said, if your leg is turning red and your foot is turning numb, there's a good chance you've got a blood clot. So they sent me to the hospital to check for blood clot. There wasn't one. But my foot wasn't going down. So then they sent me over for medical for doing blood tests and stuff. And while that was going on, they sent me to the hospital again. Now, mind you, my hospital is not local to me. My hospital is an hour away. I have one that's 20 minutes away, but my hospital for this is over an hour away. And they sent me to the hospital for an MRI. And I said to the doctor, I says, well, how long does it take for the MRI results to come in? He says, they'll have it before you get out of here. All right, cool. So my thought was, I'm going to leave here and I'm going to go stop at the doctor's office to see what's going on because they should have the blood test back. It was a snow blizzard. I'm following a tractor trailer. Hi, Tasha. How you doing? You aren't late. As long as you're here, we're good. I followed a tractor trailer because that was the only thing I could see in front of me all the way back from Ithaca, New York to Cortland, New York. And I live in Cincinnati, which is another half an hour out of town. Just as I was getting ready to pull in my driveway, I got a call from the doctor's office. Yeah, you got to go to the Pyramid Mall in Ithaca, out back of there. They have a COVID station set up. You got to go get tested for COVID. You're going to be in the hospital at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Wait a minute. I just left Ithaca. I went by the mall, and if I'm going to the hospital, that means I'm not driving. You know what I'm saying? I'm not driving back home. They won't let you drive when you leave the hospital. Well, I'm not leaving my truck there. So I was like, okay. I went back to the mall. I got the shot or the nose thing or whatever, where they try to poke you in the back of the eyeball through your nose. I got that. I got back home. I called the insurance company and said, look, this is going to go on tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. I have to be at the hospital. Can you provide any transportation? Not on this short notice. Well, fuck you too, So I called my employee and I said, Jimmy, I have to be at the hospital tomorrow by 8 o'clock in the morning for surgery. Can you come early and take me? Mind you, these guys are coming from Arabia, almost an hour away from my house, to come to my house, pick me up to go another hour away from my house, to drop me off, to come another hour back to my house to work for the day and then go back home. And he's like, oh, yeah, absolutely, no problem. I'll drop the girls off early in the morning. I'll take you to the hospital. I'll hang out with you for a little bit, and then I'll come back and I'll work for a little bit. And let me know what's going on. I was like, all right, I will. It turned out they replaced my broken, shattered heel with titanium, and I was allergic to titanium. So then I had to go back into surgery to have them not just remove all the titanium that they put into my heel, but also find out what kind of an infection it was. And I had an infectious disease doctor there. It turned out to be a staph infection, but it was a bad one. And I had to go through all that, and then I was going around. I actually had to wear a bottle on my side. I got to turn the scanner down. You're not supposed to hear that. I had to walk around with a bottle on my side of antibiotics 24/7 for like 6 weeks, with a nurse coming to my house every week and changing the lines. And I mean, it was what's called a pick line. It goes in through your arm, goes through your veins, and goes right directly into your heart. And once it comes out of your arm, you tape it to your body, and it goes back to the bottle, so it's 24/7 fed. And I was like, man, talk about not wanting to do nothing. My foot was still in a major cane zone and back in a splint again because they didn't dare put it back into another cast. So I was back into a splint, walking on crutches, can't hardly walk. And I was just like, man, I'm right back to square one pretty much where I was at. Well, then after all that happened, because of the staph infection going through my whole body, and that's the reason. Boy, yeah, okay, the reason for the cortisone shots, and that's the reason for needing to have to wear these braces. When the cortisone shots wear off, I can't walk without a brace or a cane or whatever. I keep my cane in the car just in case, you never know. And I don't know. It's been a hell of a ride, hell of a ride. And of course, they only pay you for so long through workman's comp, and now you're on your own. Thankfully, I got businesses that pay me to stay home and do what I want to do all day, which is okay. I don't mind that. I don't want to go back to work. Natasha, sorry to hear you're having that weather. They said we were supposed to be getting it all day today, and we didn't get hardly anything. We just barely got sprinkled on. Barely got sprinkled on. But yeah, that's been my ride. It's been a fun one. Oh no, it hasn't been a fun one. I'm semi-retired now. That's kind of awesome. You know, I'll be 60 in October, so it'd be nice to hit 62 and be able to collect some Social Security. Quit working for myself and just let the business do the business and not the business do me too. You know, but I don't know. Wow, you'll be 60 in February. All right, well we're close. Yeah, 60 is the new 30. The only thing is, we can't trade the 60 girls into the 30 girls because, we'll get in trouble with that. One for two, that's not a good plan. No, actually, it doesn't feel like it. I mean, it does in a way. I can't do half the stuff I used to do just because of not doing anything. Going on 3 years, of just paperwork and sitting at my desk and watching YouTube videos and stuff like that. Oh no, I'm not telling Deborah that. No, no, no. She'd be like, "You're trading me in for what?" Well, it'd be the same way. Well, what are you talking about? I'm only 56 years old. You're trading me in for 228s? Yep. Yeah, I don't do half stuff I used to do. I mean, back when I was younger, I'd do roofing. You ain't gonna catch me on a roof today. I don't care. I only had to fall down 4 feet to shatter my heel. Well, there you go, Brett. That's all you need. Well, Latasha, you cradle robber. Yeah, I figured out the end of his part. Cradle robber. Although, Latasha, being 40, I would say you're taking care of yourself. You're taking good care of yourself, so you're doing all right. Yeah, ambushed. What did he do? Walk up to you, drop to his knees, and just propose, or did you actually get to spend time with him? Sorry, guys, but it's getting close to the end. And it's been a long hour. Natasha, I have not been on Facebook much at all. Actually, there's been a lot of people sending me property links and stuff on Facebook that I need to go and check out. I post to Facebook every once in a while, but it's just drop on, post it, drop out, and then go back to YouTube because there's something else I wanted to watch. He had it all set up. I was ambushed and pissed off the whole way to Batavia. Wait, all the way to Batavia. Where'd you go? Take you over there to what is that? Six Flags? Brett, I can do Facebook, but I'm not the kind of person that wants to sit there and listen to everybody's gossip and all that stuff. You know what I mean? I spend a lot of time on YouTube. I'm very interested in politics. I watch a lot of political stuff all the time. And I have a lot of friends in Arkansas and stuff. I watch all of their channels all the time. Palm Indoor Water Park. There you go. He got you wet. But I watch all of the channels. I mean, if I actually wrote down a list of all the channels I watch, I could probably give you the list I got beside me of what's called the master list of lives. I know every day at every time when every channel is on, and I don't watch all of them because some of them I don't know, but there's a lot of them here that I do and I watch, and yeah, you are. You're the Facebook queen. I get to know what you're eating almost every night of the week. Although I do have a lot of friends on Facebook. I don't know them, probably only about 10% of them. A lot of them follow me because of me following other channels. And there's quite a few of them that follow me because of my political posts. Yeah, well, Brett, that was my issue. Finding places to do it. We were camping every weekend for a while. I haven't even been camping this year. My truck is still in the damn garage. Still in the garage. Can't even hook up to my camper right now. It's plugged in, it's ready to go, but can't do anything with it. But I was trying to do Saturday night lives at the campground, and the campground we were at, it was called Forest Lake Campground. It was so windy all day Saturday that I'd have to like hide to watch videos on my computer where it wasn't blowing the computer off the stand, and I could hear what was being said. And then about 7:35, somewhere around there, the wind would start dying down, and I'd move everything around, get a fire going, and try to do my lives at the campfire kind of thing. It wasn't working out. It wasn't working out. And I was like, all right, well, I created a little studio downstairs. And the audio quality, the video quality, and everything down there, because I was using a different internet and a different computer, was terrible. I went back and watched a couple of my lives because my employee told me, hey, your lives really aren't doing that good because nobody can really see you or understand you. And I was like, are you serious? I mean, I had this microphone down there. Or no, I didn't. I had this camera down there. But it was the internet that was so bad that the camera wasn't really doing justice for it. And of course, it's probably the computer with the video processing part of it as well. And after I watched a couple of them to find out what he was talking about, I was like, hey, I don't want to be up here in my office. I'd rather, on the other side of this door where my new office is eventually going to be, I'd rather be. Because when I get out there, that's going to be like a real studio. But for now, I'm just like, I'm relegated to here, I guess. Yeah, I don't know if I said this about my truck, but my truck, it's a 2014 Silverado LTZ, and it has what's called AFM, which is an automatic fuel management system, where if you aren't going up and down hills, pulling loads or anything else, it runs on 4 cylinders. And because the lifters don't lift up when it's running on 4 cylinders, they get stuck down. Apparently, whoever I bought it from lived in the city. They never went up and downhill. They never pulled any weight with it or anything. I don't know. I bought it in Pennsylvania. My mechanic went in and replaced all those lifters. Found out there was a problem with some of the exhaust system. He had the new parts of the exhaust system fabricated by somebody else because it was cheaper to fabricate than it was to buy. It was like a $1,200 part to buy, and he had it fabricated for like $350. He got that all done, and he drove it to Marathon, which is about 25 minutes away. Filled it up with gas, left it running out in the parking lot, went in, bought a soda, came back out, and when he got back out to the truck, the first thing I heard was tick, 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 tick. He's like, man, one of those lifters failed. So I took it back to his shop. Lo and behold, one of the lifters failed. He had to get a hold of the company that sent the lifters and the it's like a whole rebuild kit. You can't just buy the lifters because you got to have all the gaskets and everything else to tear it down and put it back together. And he's working on it now, I believe. So maybe he'll have it done so we can go out for Labor Day weekend. Maybe. I don't know. We were supposed to be in Florida about Labor Day weekend. We're heading for Florida Labor Day weekend. But those plans got changed. We're going to go down to Leah's sister's house, and she's not going to be able to be home. She's like, I can't get vacation time during that time. There's just no way. Well, I'm not coming down to visit you if you're going to be working every day, Same thing with your husband. We're on vacation. You're supposed to be on vacation, kind of thing. And we're going to take the car. Well, I can't do that now either. My new car, I actually have to I got a neighbor down the road, has a garage, and in that garage, he has a lift. I know this for a fact. He takes old vehicles, he fixes them up, and he puts them back together again. Hopefully he's not using his lift and I can talk to him. I haven't been able to catch him home while he's awake. He's old. But I'd like to go there and see if I can rent the garage and him to run the lift just to raise the car up, because I pulled into my old camp partner's place. Hey, Lauren and Joel, how we doing? I pulled into my old camp partner's property, his new camp, and the rut was so deep that the car bottomed out. And when the car bottomed out, it broke a plastic shroud underneath it. So we drug it all the way back home. And I'd like to pay him to use his lift to raise the car up. Get under there with some cable ties and the drill some holes and cable tie that piece back up, and I'm not worried about it anymore. So now I'm relegated back to my old car, which is a 2012 Mazda 6. This blew me away. The Hyundai Elantra, I can take that to the gas station. I can fill it up for like $28 and get 405 miles. The Mazda 12, it was at a half a gallon or half a tank of gas. I took it to the gas station. It cost me $34 to fill the car up. And I've gone back and forth to Cortland probably 3-4 times with it, and once over to my friend's house in McLean. So we're talking probably in the neighborhood of not even 100 miles. It's already back down to the half a gallon or half tank fuel again. I'm like, that ain't right. I don't want to put another $34 worth of gas in this car. My Elantra gets almost 50 miles per gallon, and it's not even a hybrid. So I'm like, no, I want my new car. No, I don't want to drive that. My truck gets better gas mileage than the car does, I think. That's 17 miles per gallon without the camper hooked up. No, that was our thing. We were going to take the camper to Florida. All right, guys, it's been over an hour. I'm going to call this one a night. I do believe that Johnny and Christine from Gillum Farms is on right now. I'm not positive on that, but go check them out. We'll catch you guys next week, same time, and I'm sure we'll find something to talk about because it's never ending. There's always something. Everybody have a good weekend. Tasha, mind that weather.